And but getting back to the question of cash transfer. Now, it's a failed model. It's a model that has not worked in any part of the world. Now, let's look at a few countries. Let's look at the U.S. Right? Many of these people who have been called in for cash transfer, some of them live in the U.S. Some of them have relatives in the U.S. because we're so connected. And I want them to answer us if there is any cash transfer given to them in the U.S. The U.S. is one of the most powerful countries in the world. The U.S. produces probably the most oil in the world among oil producing countries. I've never heard of any cash transfer in the U.S. Qatar, which is probably one of the richest countries in the world per capita, I've never heard of any cash transfer in Qatar. The UAE, which is Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and other states, Emirates, I've never heard of any cash transfer given. Look at Ghana, look at Angola, and those African countries that produce oil. So this model, it can't work. It don't work. And let's look at it practical, in a practical sense. Now, should we do that? Let's say we're going to give every household 500,000 or whatever the case is, right, every month or every quarter, whatever. Now, who will work after that? It's sending a bad message. Who will go to school after that? Because if I'm a student and I'm a Guyanese, I would say, I'm collecting oil money. Why should I go to school? Why should I study? Why should I get a degree? Why should I go and work? Because I'm collecting this money. So it's the culture that would create, or the culture behind that.
So it would not be an incentive to...
It will not be an incentive, and it will be short-lived. It will be short-term for sure, and we will end up worse than where we started from, because oil and gas will not last forever. Oil and gas will end at some point in time, and that is why we have used the revenue from oil and gas sector to continue building out forestry, mining, manufacturing, ecotourism, construction, and the new sectors that are emerging now, agriculture expanding, because we know we have to prepare for oil after gas, life after oil, like Dubai did, and we have seen their success. So these are resources that don't last forever. Added to that, with the conversation around the world on climate change and the protests against fossil fuel, trying to cut production, working on cutting demand. The demand for oil and gas will not be the same maybe 10 years from now or 15 years from now. So it is a model that will not work, because should we do that, we will end up poorer than where we start from. It simply means that we will end up with a country with people who are not educated because they didn't see the need to go to school and further their education and to study and to build a professional career because they're receiving these cash transfers, and the people who have not invested in businesses and who are not working. And we will simply have a country where expats and foreigners will dominate, obviously, because our locals are just sitting back and waiting on their cash transfer at the end of the month. So it is a failed model. I don't think if you can point me to any country who have successfully done that around the world, I'll be happy to look at it. But I don't think it's a model that can work or will work.
Hence, the government has been cautious in how it utilizes that instrument.
Yeah, what we are doing is, for example, the University of Guyana is free. So our young people, instead of paying to go and study at the university and get a degree or diploma, they don't have to pay anymore. So everybody can go to university once you reach a requirement and get a degree or diploma. Everybody can sign up with a gold scholarship and move on to a PhD or a master's or whatever the case is. We are building 12 new hospitals, so we have world-class healthcare in Guyana. We are building out the infrastructure, so we have world-class infrastructure in Guyana. So it's about setting the environment and preparing the environment where our people can prepare themselves for the future, where our people can make use of the opportunities that are here now and that will come in the future because of the oil and gas sector. And if you look at that, for example, just look at the building sector. Look at logging, the demand for building materials. Look at mining, the demand for aggregate, stone, sand, loam. It has increased tremendously and mainly because of oil and gas. Mainly because people are investing so much because of oil and gas. We see so much companies coming in and building. Mainly because government has the revenue now, added revenue, that we're using to build out public infrastructure. So it has benefited almost every single sector.